Hello everyone, this is Yusuf from Crafting Clouds CRM Solutions, and in today's episode we're going to continue working in Bubble, and I want to basically teach you how you could use custom states. So let's begin. So custom states was one of those concepts to me that was a little bit hard to implement. I wouldn't say understand, because of my background I understand what custom states are. But in terms of actually using it in Bubble, I didn't find it that straightforward. So in today's video, I want to explain both what a custom state is, as well as I want to show you how you can implement it. So let's start off with what is a custom state. So a custom state, for the programmers that are listening to this video, are variables. So as you know, a variable is basically taking a temporary value, assigning it to a variable, and manipulating that variable while you're operating in that particular process. Let's say, in this case, it would be the workflow builder, being able to manipulate that variable within the workflow builder. And as well as being able to, as an outcome of manipulating it, have it change the outcomes that you see on screen here. I wanted to also mention that I forgot to make a simple definition for everyone else who was watching. I singled out the most important group, which are the non-programmers, the ones that are most likely watching my videos, the no-coders. So I deeply apologize. If the definition that I made for the programmers didn't make sense to you, I wanted to make sure that I provide a simpler definition for custom states for you. So a simpler definition for custom states is, think of a custom state as you setting a value in your app, but you don't necessarily want to save that value to a table in the backend. You just want to be able to set that value, not have it appear, just be it set to a particular variable that only you would be able to refer to as the builder. And a simple example of that is let's imagine that you created a radio button, and that radio button has multiple options, and depending on the option that you choose, it would reveal a particular area of your app. Well, that option that you set for your radio button has a value, and that value you don't necessarily want to save to a table. You only want to refer to it in the future so that you can tell Bubble that my value that I've saved in my custom state, when it's set to this particular value of the radio button, I want you to reveal this part of the app. So what I built was a simple task list, and let me just hit refresh here. A simple task list of my tasks. As you can see, I have a bunch of tasks here with their statuses, as well as a create task button where I can go ahead and create a task or modify my task. Very simple. So as you can see in the status for each one of these tasks, they're not organized or sorted in a particular order. And what I would like to do is I would like to sort them with not started at the top, then in progress, and then completed. But before we go ahead and do that, I want to actually show you how I set up my tasks in the backend, because I feel like this is going to help you understand where custom states will come in. So the way I set up my tasks is I actually have a task status option set, which I've defined here. So not started, in progress, completed. And then I relate that option set to my task table, as you can see here, and I call it status. And then I have my description text field. Really straightforward. So when I go ahead and I wanted to sort my tasks by status, I would go into my repeating group that I've created here. And my data source, my search for tasks, I see the sort by option, right? Which I thought I would be able to sort my tasks here. But you'll notice that there is actually no status option here. And the reason why is because Bubble doesn't allow you to sort by option sets. So right away you're saying to yourself, okay, well, how do I go about sorting my tasks by this particular status? right? So let me show you how you can do that by using custom states. So if we go into our, let's go into our editor here, or our front end. And you'll notice I have my description field and my status field and then my save option, right? This is good. This is all we need the user to enter in order for them to save a task. But when they save that task, they should have that status automatically set and sorted in the particular order that we intend, right? So the way we can do this is we can actually add an extra field into our task table, okay? So for each task entry, we're going to actually create a new field on our task table. It's going to be a number field, and we're going to call this sort order. And we're going to hit create, okay? Now this sort order field is going to be simply a backend field. The user who's entering in the task will never see this field, should never have to interact with this field. They should only be able to enter their description, their status, and hit save. But the reason why we create the sort order field is because we want to set a sort number to our task so that we can actually then sort by this sort order field. But in order for us to set a sort number to our sort order field that we created, we have to leverage custom states. So if I go back to our design, I'm going to open up our pop-up. I'm going to just move this to the side here. And let me actually, for the sake of this video, make that sort order field visible. Okay, so I'm going to add it here. All right, and let me just go ahead and change our fixed width, remove our mid width. Okay, and let me put here sort order. And obviously they're not going to be using this, but I just want to show this to you. And then our initial content, we're going to say parent groups tasks sort order. Okay, now the content format is an integer, so we're going to leave that as that. And then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create our custom state. And sorry, actually, you know what? This is giving me a little bit of anxiety. This height, I want to say, instead of let's put our max height to 400. Let's do 300. I know this isn't best practice when it comes to you know, responsiveness, but I did want a little bit of a gap here. Anyways, that was a little bit of a segue. I apologize. Just my OCD kicking in. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to leverage custom state so that when we choose our task, all right, let me actually reorder this. Let me just hit go back here. Let me do previous. Okay, so when we set our task, it should automatically set a sort order. Okay, so a best practice when it comes to custom states is you should always set all of your custom states for a page in one area, and it could be tied to any element on that page. Me, preferably, I like to tie it to the overall page itself. And the way I create my custom states is I click this little eye icon here, and it opens up our element inspector, and you'll see custom states right here. I'll just go click add a new custom state, and I'll call this sort, and I'm gonna say that this is a number, and I hit create. Okay, now we create our custom state. Now another way you can create your custom state is in the workflow editor. I can go ahead and I can create a set state of element. In my element, I can go ahead and I can say pop-up task, for example, as the element that I want to choose. And you'll notice there's an option to create a new custom state here as well. So you can go either way. I just prefer the previous way. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to be able to set a custom state to our task, right? When we're specifying the status of that task. So let's go back to our pop-up task. Let's click the status, all right? And let me go ahead and let me actually go and open up the workflow editor. And let me say when input value has changed. So we're going to say drop down status has changed. Okay. And what we're going to say is we're going to, because we created that custom state, right? We're going to say set custom, hold on, element action. We're going to say set state of an element, okay? And then because, so this is where it confused me before. How you locate your custom state is by going in and going to your page element and finding the custom state here. Now, I did make a mistake and I named the page itself custom state. So let me actually change this. I'll say pages, overall page. Okay. Let's go back to our workflow. So you'll see overall page is here, and I've added my sort custom state here. That is the custom state that we do want to set. And the value that I want to set this to is 1. Okay. Now, I'm only setting this to 1 only when, so this is the conditional part, right? When this drop down's value display is, actually no, that's not it. Let's go, this session values value is not started. Okay, so what we're saying here is let's set that custom state to 1 and set it to not started. Let's set that custom state of sort to the value of 1 when our drop-down value, our status drop-down value is set to not started. Okay, now when we do that, okay, what we want to do is actually, I'm going to duplicate this. So let's just say copy, paste. Let me do it twice here. Paste. And let's change this value to 2 now. Okay, set it to 2. When this value is in progress. Okay, we're going to do it for each value in that status dropdown. Lastly, we want to set the value to 3 for our completed tasks. So for our completed status, so when this dropdown's value is completed. Done. Now, what we want to do, okay, is now that we've set our states, all right, so we're saying that we've set our state of sort to the pertaining value that we want it to be, particularly for the status that we've selected in the status dropdown. We want to see that status now, that value now, populate that sort order field that we created. Okay, so if I go back to our pop-up task, you'll see the sort order field here. Okay, what we want to do is we actually want to change the initial content, okay, to be, okay, we're gonna say page, overall page, sorts. That's it. That's what we want our initial content. We're setting this input to the overall page's sort. Okay? So now, if I go back into our example here, all right, let me hit refresh on the front end. Oh. Sorry, I apologize. I think I might have to just hit preview again here because I changed the page name. So it broke it. Okay, so if I open up this, I go not started. Look at that. I set the status to not started and it set the sort order to 1. Then it sets it to 2. Then it sets it to 3. So that works. Now if I save this, we're going to see that for our task that we've saved, right? Oh, I made one boo-boo here. Let me go ahead and let me add our sort order field to our save button. We want to make sure that when we save, it's pulling that value that we've populated in the sort order input, and it's saving it to the table. So now we're going to say sort order, and we're going to say input sort orders value. Done. And then I'm going to do this also for when we change an existing task, which in our most recent demonstration, that's what we were doing. I'm going to say sort order value. Okay. So now let's give that a go. Let's hit refresh. All right, let's set not started, hit save. Okay, so that was our first task. Now if I go back and I hit refresh, there we go. You'll see the sort orders populated for that one task. But now for the sort to work, we need to populate, re-enter the statuses, sorry, for each one of our tasks. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll pause the video here or speed up the video here so that you don't have to sit here and watch me do this. Okay, and there we are. We've gone ahead and we've added sorts to each one of our tasks. So you notice, oh, clean out gutters still wasn't working. Let me see here. I hit save. There we go. Now we have sorts for each one of our tasks. So I've added the sort order for each one of our tasks here. Now, if we go back to our to our repeating group, wrong page. Okay. So if I go back to our repeating group right here and I do search, now you'll see sort order is here. We're going to do a search by, and we're going to say, do we want it descending? No, because we want number 1 to appear at the top, which is our not started task. So if we hit close now and we hit refresh, there we have it. We've successfully sorted all of our tasks based off of the sort order field, which we've used custom states to set our sort order fields. Now, just to polish this off, we can hide this in the background, okay? And in fact, the initial, yeah. So now we can hide this. So now I will say not visible, collapse when hidden. And let's go ahead and refresh this. So now when I open up my task, we no longer see that. I'm going to go ahead and change this do laundry task to in progress. We should see it move down to with all the other in progress tasks. Winterize backyard, let's do another example, is it not started, it's right at the top there. If we change that to completed, it should show up with all the other completed tasks. I'll say completed, and there we are. It's with all the other completed tasks. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hoped it helped you clearly understand what custom states are and how to use custom states in Bubble. See you guys later.